Welcome to another episode of the 116 Life here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Meah Evans here. Of course, you know I'm not by myself. I'm here with the one and only Ace Harris in the building. Ace, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? It's release day.
You know what it's release day.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Talk about that first.
No, it's great. I'm excited. Shout out Jackie Hill Perry, the amazing author, poet, and now known to some rapper, because we knew her as that for early days. But yeah, excited to have people hear the music that she's been cooking up. So really dope. No,
it's really good. I was listening to it while I was getting ready this morning. One thing I do peep is that everybody in studio is layered up. I don't know where fall just said, I'm gonna see y'all later. It's like we went straight into winter, but I love it, man.
Yeah,
it feels so good.
You clean. You got the camo, the hat. It's hard.
Ace be trying to say this to like take off the energy from himself, because I know y'all see the denim drip is here. But you know, it's not just us. As always, we have a great special guest in the studio, someone who's been blazing trails, honorable in the broadcasting space, and he's here on the 116 Life. We have DJ Focus in the building.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Listen, blessed to be hanging out with y'all. Thank you, Ace and Meah, for allowing for me to come and kick it with y'all. And listen, y'all was talking about the drip. You forgot about these Wallies. Listen,
bro.
Listen, you talk about the denim drip.
Comfy.
You got Wallabies on.
And those are comfy too.
Yes, absolutely.
They're very comfortable.
Yeah, that's not hip hop.
Oh no. Yeah.
That's Wu-Tang. When I see Wallies, I think Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I'm millennial. I'm an 80s baby, so I be pulling from that time period every now and then. So yeah, thank you, man. You looking fresh as well,
for sure.
Man. Jenny's
for sure.
Clean.
I'm just trying to keep up.
You setting your goals too low, man. You can do better and above, man.
Sure. Let's go ahead and dive in, man. Welcome to the show. How's life been? How's your 2024? Just give us a peek into what the season of life is for you right now.
Listen, this is a different phase in life for me. Listen, just relocated here to the A. Mm-hmm. So that was something that was different for me and my wife. Just looking to advance and do some different things with the radio show, and just again adapting to Atlanta. Of course, I'm born and raised and been in Cleveland, Ohio all my life. So coming here, absolutely culture shock. And we already talked about it. The speed limit is 85. If you ain't going 85, you might be going slow. I think that's why it was named 85.
Yeah, right. So, okay, I got a quick question. So what has been the biggest differences you've seen from Cleveland to Atlanta?
So Cleveland, slow pace. Let's be very clear. It's more slow pace. So everything here is fast. Not just the driving, but the culture. Listen, you guys have events on Tuesday nights here.
Man,
that never happens back in Ohio. I'm gonna just be totally 100. So yes, absolutely. You guys are definitely live, and I would think that was one of the biggest things we had to adapt to. But it's a good thing, because I was looking forward to being a part of a lot of the things that happen every day here.
Yeah, looking forward to things like what specifically?
Concert events. Of course, once I get my name out there, start hosting events.
Yeah.
Just culture in general. The food is amazing here. Let's be very clear.
Shout out Keith Lee.
Listen, shout out to everybody, because me and my wife have been eating ever since we've been here. So yes, but now I got to find a gym membership, because you know how that goes. It's soul food.
Yeah, we Atlanta's about to eat. But tell me about, how's it been like leaving a place that you've been all your life? Is that, I'm sure it's an excitement, but also I'm assuming a bit of like, not grief, but like lament as well. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think for me, it was time. God was already kind of tugging at my heart to make a big move.
Yeah.
And then once I got my wife on board, I think that's when it was like, okay, because I think for her, of course, we have all our family back in Ohio. So, of course, this was a big leaving all of our family. But, I'm in purpose. So when you're in purpose and you know what God has called you to do, you can keep running all you want. God has a sense of humor. He's going to show you.
Man,
sure.
Listen.
Absolutely.
That's real. But I want to dive into something that plays a big part in your purpose, which is the Fix Radio Show. First, congratulations, just because coming from a background of radio and just being in broadcasting for so long, I just love seeing so many great media platforms, great shows, just cultivate and just get recognition and just grow in the CHH space. So that's one of the big parts of what we want to talk about here on the episode. So I'm curious to just know, did you always have an ambition in broadcasting and radio, or did that that kind of like come over time? Just like talk about that a little bit.
So it came when I decided to get in purpose. I'm gonna be honest with you. So no, never grew up. I always DJ, so had been DJing since I was like 11 or 12. So that was
for early.
That was always, music has always been a part of my life. But to get into doing a radio show, that came, my pastor, shouts out to my bishop, Dr. R.A. Vernon, he preached a word called "Oh No Man Anything." And he wanted the church to really educate ourselves on financial literacy, but also getting out of debt. So I had a lot of credit card debt at the time that I needed to pay off. And, I finally had spoke with my wife. I'm like, you know what? Let's, and she agreed. Let's go ahead and pay this debt off. So in the midst of me paying off the debts and finding a second job to work, I came across a guy who had a radio station, and it was a faith-based radio station. And at the time, I was DJing. I was doing gospel skate night at the church and giving out CDs, mixed CDs from all the artists. And I gave him one. He was like, "Oh, you familiar with Christian hip hop artists, gospel rap? I got a radio show. Would you want to be a host on one of my radio shows?" And in the midst of that, that's pretty much where the fix was born. Again, me getting out of debt and being in purpose, and found something else that God probably already had in store for me. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, one thing that I like about radio is that you're not really seen, or at least like I know back in the day it was really mainly like your voice, but still I guess coming from the background of DJing to coming to your voice now being heard and it's just you. What was that transition like? Did you jump right into it right away, or were you kind of like hesitant and had to grow into it over time? So
I think I didn't have to grow into it, but I had to grow into being on these red carpets and doing certain events.
Okay.
So that was different. So yeah, just being there behind the mic, doing what I do is perfectly fine. But absolutely, going to some of the Stellar Awards, Dove Awards, Kingdom Choice Awards, and being on these red carpets, that was different.
Red carpet's no joke.
Yeah, it's no joke.
It's no joke.
And I'm not the one, I try to stay humble. I'm not the one that I didn't do this to be like a celebrity, if that makes sense. Like, I really got into this to push this music because it changed and it impacted my life so much. So I just wanted to share it with others. So that's I'm about to say, the red carpet and doing the events on the red carpet, and then even interviewing some of the people I've had opportunity to interview. Like when I interviewed CeCe Winans, I tried to not be in fan mode the whole interview, but like it's hard. It's like it's CeCe Winans. It's like she's real. It's like I didn't think she was real. So yeah, just adjusting to that, I think that was the biggest adjustment. You talked about this music impacting you. Talk about how you came across this music that you know and love that's come to impact your life. So shouts out to Lecrae. Lecrae is the first album, CD at the time that I got. My wife and I, we were digging deeper into our spiritual growth. So we had this Christian bookstore that we used to go to of course, buy study Bibles and just music and anything we might need. And I came across, I had been buying a lot of material to read, books to read. I finally went over to the music section and I seen this CD. And he had it's After the Music Stop, where he had the tape on his mouth. So I'm like, what is this? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just buy this one. I literally just picked out this random CD, knew nothing about Lecrae, knew nothing about really Christian hip hop at all. Christian hip hop to me was Kirk Franklin Stomp. So I came up in a traditional Baptist church, so Stomp was like hip hop to us.
That's about hip hop as it is. Yeah.
Yes. So bought this Lecrae album, and I promise you, my life changed. The impact from After the Music Stop changed me forever. Like, I didn't even think Christian hip hop could even sound in a way to where I would receive it. I really felt like a lot of convictions came over me from lifestyle that I was living compared to what God wanted me to transform my lifestyle into. It was formed out of that After the Music Stop. And then from there, I really got into it. Cross movement, you name it. Bizzle, Flame, Thizzle, Seven, go down the list. Trip, everybody. So yeah, that Lecrae album changed my life. And that's why I really got into doing radio, because again, if it can impact me, and I'm an ex-street guy, so just to paint that picture of a little bit of my background, grew up in church all my life, but let's be very clear, I was not living a lifestyle that was pleasing to God. I never really felt any conviction. I pretty much just went through the motions. Of course, mama, grandmama make you go to church, so you just go, and that's it. But the lifestyle change came later on for me, when I really started living a life that I think that God is somewhat pleased with. I still got some work to do, but
hey,
I think He's somewhat pleased.
Yeah, man.
That's dope. So what was it about? Like, because at the time it wasn't like word of mouth, and I'm assuming you were obviously not like youth group. You were probably, I'm sure, in your adulthood when you heard Lecrae. What was it about that kind of music that made it like cut through, that made you feel like, wow, I never thought Christians could express, communicate, be like this? Talk about how that uniqueness really, like, you know, spoke to you, especially somebody who kind of came from like a street background. Yeah.
It was real. So it was for the first time I really felt something that was real.
Okay.
That's what hip hop's all about. So
For sure.
everybody draws to hip hop because it paints a story. It tells something that we need to hear. And that's what it was meant for. So before Lecrae, I didn't even know that there was music out there. When I went back, I saw that the cross movement was doing things too as well. But yeah, I needed something real. You figure my favorite rapper before, you know, I got into the Christian hip hop scene, of course, was Tupac.
Yeah.
Grew up on a lot of Outkast. I know we down here in the A.
Yeah.
UGK, 8-Ball, MJG, Too Short, Ice Cube, NWA. So I come from real rap, if that makes sense.
No, for sure, yeah.
So yeah, it had to be real. It had to be authentic. It couldn't be nothing watered down. And I believe every single song on that after the music stopped, I believed it. Like, I felt like he was pouring his heart out there.
I think that's so dope, Meah, because sometimes I feel like Christian hip hop, in its ascension, in its popularity, there's this like reservation by some artists historically to feel like if I put my heart into it and my gospel convictions, it's gonna be too much for certain people. And I think what I'm hearing with your story is reminding me that real recognize real.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily what you believe. It's somebody who's probably not even there in terms of like their understanding of God, but they are resonating with you believe it so much that I gotta respect you. And that authenticity can transform people to like, man, he has a point. So I think that's really powerful about what you said about the music. Yeah.
Well, we go through real things. I don't know why we think because we're believers we can't share real stories, real testimonies, real struggles.
For sure, yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think that's why, you know, we have a lot of lukewarm Christians right now. Because they don't have anybody authentically telling them, no, it's okay. I was in a season where I maybe struggled in that area, struggled in this area, and keeping it real. So,
even better yet, I am currently struggling.
Correct.
And this is how God is meeting me where I'm at.
Correct.
And I'm not hiding it or waiting for the happy ever ending story to share my story. I'm like in it with you. So yeah, that's super dope that you said that.
Absolutely.
So now hearing you being impacted by the authenticity in the music that you come across, how did that transpire into the vision and how you carry out the fix?
Okay. So for 2 years, again, met this station owner. Shouts out to the architect too as well, James Ball. For 2 years, I served under him. And when I say I served under him, because I was unpaid. I was doing a show every week on his platform and even engineering and helping with other shows. Because again, I knew nothing about radio. So I understood I had to learn how to do radio, voiceover works, commercials, you name it. So I'm learning everything from him for 2 years. So I call them really like the intern years. So it came to a place to where the architect, I believe he wanted to get into real estate. So he saw that more lucrative. I guess, he wasn't bringing enough money with the radio station. And he shut it down. So I was like, oh, okay. So what's my next move, God? And God clearly talked to me and told me, no, you are in purpose. I need you to continue to do this. So from there, that's where I would say the Fix Radio Show was birthed. And then I had to get my wife involved. Shouts out to my wife because my wife has a business degree, accounting degree. So the business structure side of it, I had to catch up on. I knew everything about the operation side, how to run a station, how to run a show, editing, audio, everything you see, video, audio, I did everything.
Wow.
So I literally know how to do everything from scratch and did it for a long time from scratch. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, learn the business and you listen, continue to stay in purpose.
Listen, man, we're going to talk more about that purpose going into even like younger years for you when we come back here on the 116 Live here on a Holy Culture Radio Sirius XM Channel 140. Ace Harris, Meah Evans. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the 116 Live here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Ace Harris, Meah Evans checking in here with DJ Focus. We're talking about just purpose, and we want to dive in just a little bit more. Talk a little bit about, you talked about your upbringing briefly, but I'm curious just to know more. Like, talk about what your childhood was like, your upbringing, growing up in Ohio, and all the things like that.
So I have an interesting faith story when you talk about understanding spirituality and understanding, having my relationship with God. I grew up in a household where my old man believed he pretty much was in the Roman Catholic faith.
Okay.
So I was confused for a lot of years in my household because my father was a Catholic, my mother was a traditional Baptist. So for the first 7 years of grade school for me, I went to a Catholic school.
Okay.
I was an altar boy, did the mass during school every day. But then on Sunday, I would go to this 4-hour fallout devotional Baptist service. But in the midst of that, I really never really had an authentic relationship with God, even going through both of those faiths. Like I never understood, like, what is really God? What is really my role, what God really wanted me to do? I was just really going because my father wanted me to go to Catholic school because he went to Catholic school. My mom wanted me to go with Sunday with her because she wanted she wanted to show me a part of her faith. So that was confusing until I probably was like, to be honest with you, maybe 14, 15 before I finally felt like, okay, I really understand what, it does mean to have a relationship with God. Oh, I really do understand now how to pray for real. Because before I didn't understand how to pray. Okay, I'm reading my Bible. Okay, I'm starting to understand some of these scriptures now that I've been reading for so long, but never really understood what it really meant. So that was a huge part of our household. I say that to say, yes, my mom was a praying mom. My grandmother was a praying grandmother. And that made up who we were. Like, let's be very clear.
Did you have questions?
Oh yeah, but see, so I come from a different era. You couldn't ask too many questions. That was considered to be you were talking back or you were being smart. So that was something too as well that was different from me. As I became an adult, I was able to go back and ask my parents a lot of questions. But as a kid, when your dad said, that's enough, or don't speak anymore, you don't speak anymore.
I know what you mean.
Yes.
What was it about the age 14, 15 that prompted you to have that better understanding specifically? Was it a moment? Was it the people around you? What kind of led you to be like, okay, I'm starting to get this like faith and Christian thing more?
So it was a moment at church.
Okay.
I really feel like the Holy Spirit kind of like wooed me. I really felt like I was wooed in the spirit. I was a part of the choir. Again, my mom made me a part of the choir. I don't sing really well, but
I'm sure you're singing bass. Though.
Yeah. Of course, tenor. Of course, I'm the tenor. So
not the alto.
No, not the alto, the tenor. But yes, there was a moment in church where I really felt like God was really like tugging on me and telling me I need to do something more than what I was doing. Before that, I really didn't feel any like real conviction, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it was a moment, and it was during a resurrection service or Easter service. So it was then I was like, oh, okay, I probably need to start studying more. I probably need to start praying more on the regular.
Okay.
So, yes.
Was there something specific at that service that awakened you, or was it just a feeling?
It was a feeling.
Okay.
It was a feeling. It was one of those things where it was a feeling where I really felt like I was living a lifestyle that God just wasn't pleased with.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think a lot of people in church, we put on this facade like we're okay and we're not okay.
Yeah.
We go to service, we feel good, we had to feel good, but then we go back and just live a lifestyle and don't change at all. That's why it's so much hypocrisy in the church. And so it was just tugging on me. Now I didn't change right away, so let's be very clear. I still didn't change till I was about maybe, I would say 27, 28. It would be like 13, 14 years later before I really started really cleaning my life up.
So when you said between 14, 15, and then you said 27, 28, what during that time, like I'm thinking maybe college, like what did that time look like for you in your faith?
So didn't go to college, graduated from high school, started working, had some family issues. So come from a family that was really close knit. We call ourselves like the good times family, to where everybody did everything with each other. But I had some rocky moments in my young adult stage. I just didn't kind of agree with my parents in some areas. So I ended up leaving my parents' household. By the time I was 19, I was gone on my own. Met a beautiful young lady. and 3 years later married her.
Okay.
And, from there, I started really just being a man, just being honest. So in the midst of that, working a lot, of course, trying to take care of my wife and family and trying to do things, find myself as a man.
Sure, yeah.
Still going to service.
Right,
but
okay.
I really don't think till I was about 27, and shouts out to my mother-in-law, because my mother-in-law introduced us to this church. Then that's when I really felt like the groundwork really started. I never had really served in a ministry and understood the impact of serving in a ministry and how your gift is not actually for you, but it's actually to be a blessing to someone else. And that really changed my perspective on everything that I was doing once I got to a ministry where I sat down, not only got the teaching, but also started serving in ministry.
And you mentioned, not to get too deep, but you mentioned how like you had like a street background, and without saying too much, what was it about the streets that had an allure to you in your adult years? You know what I'm saying? Talk about that experience, what that felt like.
Yeah, how to make money? Yeah. Money. So let's be very clear. Yeah. So let's be very clear. We're in a microwave culture to where we want money fast. Okay. So it's fast money. Let's be very clear.
Gotcha, yeah.
Some of it was influenced by some of the rap that I was putting in my spirit, which is why on the show I call it Spiritual Detox, where I had to detox with some of the hip hop that I was consuming. That. So yeah, absolutely. But I can't hold the rappers accountable for me. And I used to do that. I used to be ignorant to the fact and say, well, this is the rap I'm listening to, or this is what I'm supposed to be. Growing up in the inner city, majority of the role models you have, let's be very clear, if it's not an athlete, it's usually going to be the drug dealer.
That's facts.
Or the guys that are driving the fancy cars, the Benzes, the Rolls Royces, the Range Rovers, whatever it may be. So yeah, absolutely. Listening to the music has influenced me, plus also making money and making it fast.
For sure. That's a key point, fast, because I feel like for whatever reason, and I'm from the suburbs, so I don't have this filter that like I can resonate. But I think for some people who are in the inner city, there is like a knock on getting it methodically, because a lot of times circumstantially, you may not have no inheritance like that. You may not have this access to resources that other people have, and so it does. I can imagine what it looked like to see someone who's like probably working a teacher job or a trash man in the neighborhood. You're like, man, this person's ain't never getting out this rut, and to see someone who's like getting fast money quick at a young age, I can imagine the kind of impact that can have on like especially a young black man. Because I feel like in Christian culture, we kind of gloss over that part, especially for our young black youth. Meanwhile, not having access to money is like if the love of money is the root of all evil, not having it is like, bro, where's the accountability? Where's the systems? Where's the people giving like perspective on that? Because I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in that and not know how to navigate your way out of that if you ain't got no money. Like, talk about that experience, man. Just like the love for money, the allure of the game, while being a young black man without the proper like perspective on that.
So
yeah,
it's easy.
I know I said a lot.
No, you said a lot, and you said some key things. You're absolutely right. When you don't understand, one, how money works. So I think that's the first thing that within our culture that we don't talk about enough: financial literacy. And when you come from poverty, I'm just being honest. Like if you're just barely making it, to me, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, to me you're broke. That's poverty. And if you don't understand how to save, so I was 23 before I opened up my first checking account. Before I even knew that was a real thing, I was taught and I was raised: you just go to the corner store, you just go to the money place and just cash your checks. So I didn't even know, until I started working at a university, Case Western Reserve University, and saw other cultures and started having conversations with them. A lot of them had their first bank account when they were 14. Yeah. They were taught how to manage their checking account by the time they were 16. By the time they were 18 and graduated, they already had $10,000 saved in the bank. Yeah. That wasn't my reality.
That's your reality.
That wasn't my reality. So I didn't know anything about how money works, establishing credit, what that looked like. So absolutely, when but when you hang in the streets, you listen to the music, it influences you. It tells you can go out in the streets and make $10,000 in a day.
That's why would you be a teacher? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to level the playing field and give context for people who are sometimes quick to criticize people that.
If they don't come from that culture, they wouldn't understand. And I get it. If you don't come from that culture, you said you grew up in the suburbs. I actually lived with my grandmother in the suburbs, but we still were house poor. I'm just be totally transparent. So even though I lived in the suburbs of Cleveland, in the Cleveland Heights area, we still were house poor. So it still didn't mean anything.
That's a lot. Thank you for sharing the real. I love when we go like into the unpack the real and hear and I think to kind of bring it back to hip hop and to the fix and the radio show. So you're 27, you're 26, and you're starting to like really live out your faith in a way that's like transformational. You said, what responsibility did you feel like for your culture, for the kingdom, knowing what you had pretty much like just acquired, like as a man, as a kingdom person?
Listen, I was really aggressive when I first started doing
I can see that.
Fire and brimstone. Shouts out to all my fire and brimstone people, because I'm like, I changed my life, and I was going down to my partners on the block and trying to get them from stop hustling, stop doing stuff. But I went about it wrong. I went about the wrong way. It was too judgmental without building the relationship and giving them room to grow. And a lot of them didn't receive it right away. So I had to learn. And again, that's spiritual maturity. You'll learn as you grow.
For sure.
But yes, I wanted to give everybody this music, because I said, if this music can change me, which I know I was a hardcore hip hop head. I was up until then, I was definitely a weed smoker, alcoholic, functional weed smoker, functional alcoholic. I had a gambling problem, just to name a few.
No,
Again, as I started to sit with some of this music, this is the first time I really said, you know what, I got to start changing some of these things. It's easy to talk it, but it's hard to, to change and shift and show people, because everybody talks it, but people watch your actions. People watch what you really do. So yeah, I just got tired. I hit a point where, I started felt conviction, and I got tired, and I wanted to change.
Talk about and describe what that evolution looked like for you, like walking away from smoking, drinking, gambling, and then even the spiritual maturity side of you, of being like, okay, not being so judgmental and being more loving. Just talk about that. I'm just curious to know.
It was hard, I'll be honest with you, especially the weed smoke. I still have cravings right now to smoke weed. Yeah. And I've been removed from it since 2006.
Wow.
But it still goes through my mind quite often.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling. But to God be the glory, I haven't went back and smoked anything. But it was hard. Yeah. And I was blessed because I had a wife who wanted to change
Shout
too
out a
as
good
well.
Wife, man.
Yeah, no, seriously.
She's actually here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She's super dope. I don't think I could have done it if I didn't have a support system in her. If I didn't have somebody that I could see like really changing in real time with me, I probably wouldn't have done it. I'm just being honest. Because let's be real. A lot of us do a lot of things in the dark at home when we by ourselves. If you don't have accountability, somebody to walk with you with that, you're just gonna stay in the dark. So
facts.
Yeah. So it was rough. I think the hustling part was rough, as well as the weed smoke. That was rough. Because again, especially like when we struggling to pay something, and I'm knowing I can probably go do a lick real quick and come back and make everything all right, but I have to trust in God and know that it's in God's time that He gonna bless this household how He wants to bless it, but then also to be able to go to my wife and assure her that it's gonna be all right when she's looking at the bills like, no, it ain't gonna be all right. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, that was new for me. That was new.
Yeah.
That's so, I know we probably got to, I just want to say that before we transition, man, that's so inspiring. Learning how to trust God with everything and not falling back into the ways that we know how to operate or know how to drive, which can seem so easy. And I think shout out to you, man, just like your spiritual maturity and your like commitment to coming out of your circumstance and like, nah, I'm gonna change the script. I'm gonna write a new story. I'm gonna do it a different way. I'm not like my guys on the block. And I think that's really powerful that, you kind of like being transparent about it. So shout out to you, man. We're going to get back into how this all played into your aspirations with the radio show and the fix in the next segment. It's the 116 Live Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. I'm here with DJ Focus, Meah Evans. We'll be right back, y'all.
And we're back here on the 116 Live here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Meah Evans, Ace Harris here with DJ Focus. And before we were about to dive in off air, you're about to say something so key that we felt like our listeners wanted to hear when it came to the spark behind the fix, the vision that keeps it going. Just talk a little bit about that.
So I'm be honest with you. I felt like we as believers weren't having real conversations on our struggles or just talking about things that are relevant. When you think about the struggle of submitting to God. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. I know we I'm going to circle back because I know we talked about it briefly, but understanding your role means you have to submit to God. And in that submission comes hard conversations. I'm just being honest with you, because you might have to go to, I can talk to you for a minute, Meah. You might have to go to your sister for a minute. If your sister out of pocket and she constantly out of pocket, you might need to tell her, hey sis, why you keep moving this way, or why you keep letting this dude, maybe abuse you or whatever it may be, some type of toxic relationship. I didn't feel like there were enough of those conversations about faith and how we get better and how we stop the sinful nature that we're accustomed to doing. I didn't feel like that was happening enough. So that's where the name The Fix came from, because I figured, listen, before we can go out and win the loss, the church ain't clean yet. The church ain't right. Let's be very clear. You got the pastor sleeping with the lady in the praise team every other day. You got this one stealing this. You got this one doing that. So it's like, if we don't talk about real problems in the church and address them, how do we win the loss? Because again, I say it all the time. People hear everybody talk, but they watch what you do.
That's facts.
They watch how you move. So yes, that's how the name The Fix came out. And also too as well, the music. Again, to go back on the music, I call it spiritual detox, because I really felt like a lot of people think that music doesn't impact them, it doesn't affect them. That's a lie. Yeah. Come on now. When you walk into a certain show and you feel happy all of a sudden, I guarantee it's a happy record on. It's certain songs when we go to the repast or the funeral. Come on, we're crying as soon as you walk through the door. It's a reason for that. There's certain songs that will make you turn up and get drunk. Certain songs will make you turn up and smoke weed. I'm just being honest. I had a playlist for all of the stuff that I used to do. I had a playlist for it. There's certain songs, oh yeah, I'm putting that on. I'm like me one today, I'm putting that one on. I'm turning up, it's a celebration, I'm taking my wife out, it's our anniversary on, Tony. Like, we put these songs on for a reason, and they make us feel a certain way. So I wanted to make sure that all the believers knew music impacts you. I'm not telling you to take all of the mainstream music out of your playlist, but if you single and you're trying to stay single and satisfied, but you keep listening to these songs and they keep leaving that back door open, and they keep coming in the middle of the night, and you wonder why you can't stop sleeping around. If you hustling and you doing this and you listening to hustle music, you might want to just take a look at your playlist and maybe get something in your spirit to say, you know what, I do want to sleep with that man. I do want to sleep with that girl. Oh, I do want to go take that lick, but God has called me to a greatest purpose. So yeah, getting the music back involved. And again, it was dope too as well. Again, I had not heard before Lecrae and Cross Movement and go down the list. I hadn't heard dope music from believers. So that was inspiring to me, because I'm like, I don't have to listen to this if I don't want to. So
you said you're a man of action, and you really gauge actions over talk. And I'm hearing you talk about spiritual detox and how the music is problematic. Talk about the importance of, sometimes we can be like old head vibes in the church and say everything that's wrong, but there's not a solution to follow. But talk about how you felt that call to not just critique culture, but construct culture and build something with The Fix.
Again, everybody always talks about the problem, but nobody talks about the solutions. So we can either be a part of the solution or be a part of the problem. And I just wanted to be a part of the solution. Like I figured, I'm in purpose now. I'm doing things now. Maybe people are not aware of it, because that was another thing too as well. As I was giving out the music, people weren't aware of it. So as they became aware, now what am I doing? Building a relationship. So now, by the time I done gave you that third CD and you told me you listen to it all the way through, now I can have a real conversation with you.
Evangelistic too.
Absolutely. So I think it's building relationships before judgment, because I do believe there is a place for righteous judgment in relationships. So again, as I build with you, Ace, and we've been talking for 2 months, 6 months, 8 months down the line, if I see you out of pocket, now I can come say something to you now.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I'm just talking and I ain't built no relationship, I don't know, like you said, you done dove into my childhood story. You know a little bit more about me. You know maybe what ministry I go to, if I'm even going to a ministry. Again, building that relationship to see why people do the way they do, but also having a conversation.
This is
That's
real.
good. When since you said back to when OG Cray and Cross Movement and things like that, you've seen CHH evolve over time. And even I'm just now peeping your shirt, which I think is so fire, of just everybody who's impacted CHH and things like that. From your point of view, what has it been like seeing the evolution A says it all the time here, the renaissance that's happening with CHH. Just what is your take on that, of just seeing the evolution that's happened over time, and everyone that's running so hard with CHH and just how it's grown as a genre?
Let's be very clear. We're in a good space, y'all. So I don't know if y'all realize it or not, but we are in a good space. Everybody, mainstream, everybody knows what we're doing now over here. The music has evolved tremendously. So for a long time, I'll be honest with you, we only had like the Reach Records. You know, Bizzle came on the scene. You had God Over Money. Cross Movement had kind of retired. So we only had selective artists. That's no more. We have tons of artists in this space. Then we even got into the Christian R&B, the Christian Afro beats. I mean, you can go down the list. So we're in a good space. Again, now mainstream has been noticing us. I would say mainstream has really been noticing us for, I'd say, last 7 years. I think a pivot moment was when Chance the Rapper went on I think it was a Grammy performance, and he sung with Kirk Franklin, How Great Is Our God. To me, that's when you saw mainstream artists wanting to share their faith a lot more. I think it's because of Christian hip hop artists and what we were doing over here, and we know what Kanye has done, and you can go down the list, you know. So yes, we're in a good place. We're in a good place.
So with us being in a good place in terms of notoriety, people taking like a liking to it, do you have any caution, any admonition to the space that we should be mindful of as it's growing commercially, growing in recognition? What is, like, someone who's been like a key stakeholder in this space for many years, what's your caution to this Christian hip hop community?
I would caution artists to educate themselves on the business side of it. Let's be very clear. For a long time, we didn't have any money over here. Let's be very clear. No, seriously. And that's always an issue.
You speaking facts,
so,
my G.
I would caution a lot of the artists, producers to really educate themselves, because I had to do it too as well on the business side of it to understand how to read contracts. If you don't know how to read contracts, you need to get a legal team. Make sure your lawyer's reading those contracts, because we don't want to take deals just to be happy and take this 6-figure deal or 7-figure deal. But, you know, you have to do things that are compromising your spirit, your walk, or whatever goes into that. So I think that's, and of course, as the money comes, make sure you have a good team around you, because let's be very clear. If you've never had money and you start getting money, temptation comes. Let's be very clear. The enemy is always watching, trying to throw that curveball to get us off of purpose, to get us out of pocket, to have the next big scandal. Come on. Everybody's always looking for a Christian scandal. I don't know why. Shouts out to y'all haters, but whatever. No, seriously, it's a pastor gonna mess up eventually. It's somebody gonna do something eventually. So just make sure you got a good accountability team. Definitely learn the business.
That's good. I want to shift gears a little bit, but keep that same type of conversation when it comes to media and radio and broadcasting. Because when I was, I've only been doing this for only just 11 years now this year.
Just 11 years.
And it's so funny.
I love how she said that. Just 11
just
when
a light
I was
full transparency, I only been doing it for 9, so I just want to on this side. So you got it up on me.
You're so funny. But I've always seen. I've seen a lot of your accomplishments and things like that. But I think you can even attest to this as well, of just even the growth of even shows and platforms. Even giving a lot of love and support to the family of Chris Chicago, who was so, like, when I was coming up, it was Track Stars, DJ Wado, and Chris Chicago who I was watching, just like learning and things like that. And even since then, so many more shows, not even just shows, but even just like media platforms and things like that. From a broadcasting perspective, what is your take on how Christian media and radio looks like now, and even what you want to see more of?
Good question.
I think we're in a good place. We need more outlets. Let's be very clear.
Yeah, I agree.
We need more outlets. We definitely, the next step for us is to take over FM radio. Let's be very clear. Until we take over FM
trying to figure
radio,
that out, man.
The money, the bag won't be behind us, and I think that will take us to the next level of us taking all of our platforms seriously. Just being honest. And then, what was the second question you asked me? Forgive me.
What do you want to see more of?
Unity. That's why I was so glad about this. We don't do this enough.
Say more.
I think a lot of times we feel like we're going to not be able to partner with each other just because we have similar platforms. Like, no, I ain't gonna let them come on and listen to my listeners. My listeners be going over and listening to them and la la. No, we stronger together. There's something that you guys bring that me and my co-host can't bring, and vice versa. So I think the unity part of it, us collabing, us doing more things together, yeah, I would love to see more of that. And also celebrating each other. Let's be very clear.
Yes. Yeah.
You brought up something. Yeah, it's not about the accolades, but it is. Let's be very clear. When you work hard, y'all know how much we have to put into this. So, we were blessed. We have 2 Stellar Awards. And the thing I like about it is we're on a traditional gospel platform winning these Stellar Awards. We're the only Christian hip hop show on this platform. And, we won the Stellar Awards, and I just didn't see a lot of people like celebrating the moment and them realizing that, I still represent you. Even though you didn't get it per se, this is a win for Christian hip hop. Y'all need to understand that we need to continue to celebrate each other and be in these spaces. So yeah, I would say those things will be a few things.
Yeah, I think the unity thing is important, and it's and there's like the one conversation is unity, and one conversation is like exclusivity or gatekeeping. And I just want to say that.
Talk about the gatekeeping for a minute. Let's go.
I think that it's a layered conversation, and I think I'm sure there has been people who have felt that way. There's probably been people who accuse me of that or whatever, or Reach Records or anybody can. And I just want to say, it's not necessarily gatekeeping if you're building with people who you can't get nothing from. I feel like I think it's good to have relationships with people outside of your building, outside of your space, which I think we try to do. I mean, with some of the playlists, we've definitely done that. But at the same time, there's gatekeeping, then there's quality control. And I think people need to be mindful of the distinction. And not every gate needs to be open if it's going to sacrifice quality. Some people, they need to. It's probably a time in my life when I was a producer and I used to submit beats to Reach Records after I had a few placements, and I would submit stuff and I wouldn't get calls back. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't take it personal. I'm like, oh,
you shouldn't, because it wasn't good.
It wasn't good enough.
So just speak it.
So yeah, we can't confuse gatekeeping from quality control, because they're two different things.
I agree.
I think gatekeeping is done to keep someone at a position that actually has quality, because you're afraid that their quality may take from your quality or take from your platform. That's lame to me. But it's like, nah, if it's quality control is not gatekeeping. Some people, I got some DMs that's like, bro, I didn't hit you back because I just couldn't hear anything that I could use. And that's okay, right? And you should vet your artists on your platform too. It's like, if somebody gonna come on your show and not bring a quality, godly perspective, you're not gatekeeping. You holding the line. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Well, let's be very clear. So I'm gonna just say this, because I get called for that too as well. There is a standard that I think a lot of people think because we do it for God that there shouldn't be, but there is a standard. Like, that's why we do a music review every Friday. We call it the Winning Prescription. But we also say, listen, your music has to be sonically good. Let's be very clear. Just because you performed at your local church doesn't mean that just goes on radio. And it's nothing personal against that. Absolutely. Everybody, all your loved ones at church are probably going to root for you. But it's going to take a real connoisseur who listens to music all day. This is what I do. I'm telling you, it's not even mixed down properly. Let's talk about that.
Shout out Biz.
No, seriously, like, a lot of people don't even know their track is not mixed down properly. Then when you talk about the content, okay, yes, okay, it's okay, but it's not like up to the standard where it needs to be. So I think, again, we scared to hear the truth.
Yeah.
I think we're scared to hear the truth. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying and clearing that up, and not to end on a snarky note, but on a bright note, I think it's amazing to have you here, because Christian hip hop is having a renaissance moment. It's just fun to see all my peers thriving. Tory Deshawn's album out today.
Bro, yes.
Enterprise, Fire, Nike killing it, man. So many dope people that's just doing their thing. And I just want to make sure that, quality control is part of it, and just building relationships. I'm glad that you came on here, because I know we've been kind of seeing each other at spaces here and there. And I felt a tug on my heart. Like, man, I want you to be on this show. And I'm glad that we're able to have you here and you share your authentic voice for people to learn more about what you guys got going on. So
anytime, man. Yeah. Anytime y'all have me, I'll come back.
Anything you want to drop about the show, what you got going on before we...
Man, listen, you already know, tap in with us Monday through Friday on Sirius XM Channel 140, 6 a.m. Also, you can tap in with us every Saturday on the Stellar Award-winning Power 89.1 FM. Listen, go follow us at The Fix Radio Show. That's DAFIXX Radio Show on all your social media handles. I got a little social media handle too. I'm not really on there. If you want to follow me personally, DJ__focus, but I'm not on there. I'm be honest with you. The team takes care of that. I'm not really on there at all. We really don't post too much on the DJ Focus page, but follow the radio show page. And I'm excited.
Man, you know a good radio voice when you hear it, man. When you said that, I was like, oh, I know. You know, you hear someone, you're like, I know you on the radio. Like, man, I'm so glad that you were happy to be here. And thank you for joining us here, man. Thank you for everyone who was tuning in this week here on the 116 Life, here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. It's Ace, Meah, DJ Focus. We'll see you guys next week.